Welcome everyone. My name is Laurens Wapenaar. I'm product manager at FinDock, and with me is Klaas Kooistra. And together we will be showing you what we have in store for you with the January 26 release. Before we get started, I'd like to mention this session will be recorded, and as all previous webinars will be posted to our YouTube channel. Everything we'll be talking about is already in your sandbox environment and will be automatically pushed to your production environments with FinDock installed on Sunday night, January the 25th. If you'd like to track status of this, follow this release, you can go to status.findock.com and subscribe to live updates. All right, so what are we going to be talking about? First, I'll do a brief update on our running betas. Then we'll be talking about a new processor integration with Paya. Then Klaas will take you through a new feature for refunds from Salesforce and talk about a couple new payment methods that we have introduced. First, the betas that we have. As you can see, we have a bunch of running betas, 3 of which are new, which is a new integration with the bulk API v2 of Salesforce, the new Paya processor, and refunds from Salesforce. And in the next release, we hope to move at least the Paya pilot to beta based depending on your feedback. All right, so what is Paya? Paya is a payment service provider that's primarily used by nonprofit organizations in the USA. It was previously called Sage Payments and is now part of Nuvei, which is a larger payment service provider, but Paya still runs under its previous brand name. As part of this integration, we have integrated one-time and recurring payments with credit card and ACH direct debit, first through offline channels with our virtual terminal, and recurring payments with payment schedules, which is how Paya is used most. And we've also added refunds triggered from Salesforce, address validation services, specifically for Paya, which I'll talk a bit more later. Also reconciliation of notifications through the transaction reports of Paya. And we also intend to add one-time and recurring payments through online channels, through, for instance, our API pages and pay links to this scope, which basically means we've got the full suite of FinDock features for credit card and ACH direct debit in the US. So what is AVS, or address verification services? To give a bit of context, so there are several ways to do fraud detection for online payments, for credit cards, but also for bank payments. So in this case, ACH direct debit. In Europe, this is mostly done through 3DS, based on the strong customer authentication directive of the EU, part of EU law even, where it is said you need to have something which is usually your bank account number, for instance, something you have, which is often a login, your bank account app on your phone specifically, and then something you are. So you need to be able to authenticate with this. So often you see, if you pay with credit card in the European Union, you'll have a pop-up in your bank account app on your phone where you need to authorize the transaction. This is offered by some payment service providers in the USA, for instance, Stripe, but it's not a common pattern that is used. Instead, what is used is address verification services, which basically means the billing address that's inputted on the form is compared to the billing address with that specific card or bank account at the issuing bank. So your bank that provides you with the credit card. These are then compared, and if everything is the same, the transaction will go through. Obviously, there's more more data that goes into fraud detection, but these are the main inputs that you will see. And we already had 3DS through payment service providers in Europe, and we've added several of the address verification services, or to put more simple, the ability to input billing address, so it can be compared when you do a transaction, to several of our features. So one layer deeper, what does it look like usually? You'll have to ask for the billing address of your customer together with the credit card number or the bank account number, whether this is an online form or a virtual terminal like a payment component. Then you request the transaction with the payment service provider, which checks the credit card number plus the billing address with the bank of the payer. And then if everything is correct, we will store the billing address on the payment profile record in Salesforce in the FinDock. Once it's stored, it can be used for future recurring payments. So every time we request a payment against this card or bank account, we need to send the billing address and it's checked again. Or you can, when you use stored payment methods in our virtual terminal, like a card or bank accounts on file. This means there's some data model around this, and also you'll see addresses pop up in our components to be able to do this. So this is what I'd like to show you a little bit about how this works, and we'll take this opportunity to use the Paya processor for this. So here I have an installment. So a one-time payment. This could also be an MPSP opportunity or a MPC gift transaction. It's in US dollars in this case, and we have our trusted payment component on the right-hand side. Now, this one hasn't been set up to use address verification services or AVS yet. So we'll do that, but basically it means you don't see any other fields than simply the card and the expiry date and the CVV or the bank account details. So what we'll do is we'll go to our configuration, and once you click the component, you see a couple additional settings here. First, you need to tell the component that you would like to use this form of fraud detection. And many payment service providers have the option to either not do it at all, do it optionally. So send the billing address to the bank if you have it, but don't send it if you don't have it. So you're not completely blocked if you don't have it, or require it. In this case, we'll require it, which means you can't, if you don't have the billing address, you can't do any transactions here. Now, to make it easier for you and not type in all these details every single time you do a payment for a customer or a donor, we use Salesforce CRM data, the data that you have of your customer, to pre-fill this data if you already have it. The thing is, though, that there are many addresses in Salesforce, on contact, on account, person account, anywhere. And you can even make your own custom address fields. So you'll need to tell us which address you are using, which block of address fields you are using in Salesforce, and then we will use that to pre-fill your component. So you see here, as I have person account enabled, you see both the person account mailing address, but also the account billing address. Now, once you do this, you already see that in the preview, you already see these fields being pre-filled because I have them for this contact. But for now, let's save this and go to the actual record. So now my payment component has a bunch of new fields and the billing information. And every time I do a transaction, I need to provide the billing as well. But because we are CRM and we have a donor, in this case myself, on which we have the mailing address, it's pre-filled and you don't need to type it out again. In this case, what you see here also is that we'll use your Salesforce configuration around the country and state pick list to set up these pick lists. So whatever you have configured here will also show up for your agents in this case. Now let's do a payment. And let's take this data. And basically, once I type in these details, I can set up the payment. Now, once I've done this, and the the payment is in the system, obviously we'll store these details and we'll store them in the payment profile. Now, to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to show you a previously set up payment profile, which is this one, how that looks like. Oh, not this one. I'm sorry. I'll have to pick another one, where we have the details. But once it's stored in the system and you would like to reuse this card and with the combination of this billing address, you can simply do so. So here I have the same payer, but on a recurring payment where the component also works. And here you can see all these cards. And if they have the billing address, we will send the billing address with this stored payment method. So you don't even have to check it, whether it's correct or whether it works. We'll simply use all the data available in your system. And that's how it works. All right. So that's Paya, and that's address validation verification services. We'll expand on this a little bit in future releases, as this is a new feature. But this is it for now. And now let's go to class to talk about refunds.
Thank you, Laurens. Really excited to see how easy it is to collect credit cards on our virtual terminal component, even if you need to type in many different data points. I'm here to take you through an exciting new feature which we're launching in parallel to Paya, which is the ability to initiate refunds from Salesforce. Now, let's start a bit high level on why do you even want to initiate refunds from Salesforce. Previously, FinDock processed the notifications you got from the payment service provider, but didn't allow you to initiate that refund. But there are two main reasons why you want to initiate a refund from Salesforce. One is that customers and service agents, when they talk to their customers on the phone or over email, get instant feedback on the outcome of refund and consider the full customer profile when determining if you want to issue a refund. So let's say you have somebody who's notoriously fraudulent, then you can stop sending a refund because they have open invoices still left. On the other hand, you don't need to move between different systems to complete the returns process or reduce the chance of mistakes because you work from the heart of the customer profile. Now, what does this look like from FinDock's perspective with the refunds? It's a core capability which we hopefully will roll out across many processors over the coming releases, which gives you instant feedback right from Salesforce, which supports both full and partial refunds, and you can embed it and make it part of your returns or a refunds process however you like, by embedding it into a flow or your Lightning Web component using a flow action. This pilot will start with this pilot with our data model, a detailed customs permissions model to initiate refunds, and make sure that only certified or approved users can initiate a refund. You can embed a refund, like I said, using an invocable action in Flow or in the Lightning Web component, and it's only we're starting this release with PSP support for Paya. What's coming is that we also want to reflect the refund in through our sources, specifically the nonprofit cloud connection. We want to expand on this flow action and provide you with an easier to use no-code solution. And we are, as I said, expect to add more payment service providers once this pilot progresses to beta or even GA. Now, I can talk about it a lot, but it's a lot better to just show you how it works and how easy it is. So let's go into my environment. And for this specific demo, I created a very basic screen flow that gets all the data. And we have this new FinDock action, which is the ability to initiate a refund action, which I mapped to an amount and a payment ID and everything else. But this can be part of any flow. Can be from a case or anything, as long as you have the payment that you're refunding available, then you can get started. Now I've put this flow on my installment layout, as you can see over here on the right-hand side of my screen. And this is a previously collected payment from Paya for $90. But this customer called and said, hey, I made a mistake. I paid twice and you've confirmed that. And in this case, I can I will mark this refund as a duplicate. And if I hit next, it will submit the payment to Paya for refunds. I can also put in a partial refund if I want, like let's say I want to only refund 40, that's completely fine, but in this case I want to do a full refund. If I hit next, we go to Paya, and then you get a feedback on the screen which says that the refund has been successfully submitted to the processor, and you also get a refund reference here that you can use to search the refund in our system. If I now go to my related list, what happened in the background is we've created a refund record. That happened, that as you can see over here, which contains all the details of the refund. It contains the status, it contains the refund reference, it contains the original payment reference, and even the reason, which you can configure yourself. So it can be any reason that you have in your business process. You can add them here to the pick list values, and we work with that. It's also linked to the original payment. And this one is not yet settled, so it's in pending processing. Now, how did this record get created? For payments, we use the inbound reports and the payment intent. And for refunds, we use a similar pattern that allows you to build scalable performance, but also highly customizable refund processes, where we start from the inbound report. And this is the same, as you can see, we handle the refund, so we create a refund record. It's linked to original payment, and we update the status to matched. And you can extend these rules with things that you want, like sending an email or doing anything you like you're known and used to from guided matching. Now, sometimes typically a refund takes a bit of time to get in, and then you get in a notification. In this case, I've prepared a notification from earlier to show you as well. Once the confirmation comes in for the refund, you see that we get a notification from, in this case, from Paya, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen, with a subtype that it's a credit that has been settled for $90. And as you can see on the right, we try to find the refund. We try to find the related installment and contact. We set the target, the payment method, and then we handle the refund by creating a new negative payment linked to the installment and updating the installment status, as well as the refund status. So in this case, if I open the refund, it's updated from pending processing to completed. So you know this refund is completely done, and it's also added extra data points like the payment that's related, the date, and other information that you might need for your processes. As I said, this refunds process can be extended however you like through the flow action. It can be a button. You can embed it into maybe a case flow that you have for your service agents. And we're starting with Paya. Now, if you're interested in learning more about refunds or want to be included in the pilot, don't hesitate to reach out. And then we can see if you can be eligible to join this exciting new pilot. That's my demo for refund. It's really easy, and I'm very excited on what's to come. And we're in the coming releases on adding this to more processors, making it work across the board even better than it is right now. And that sums up refunds with Paya. Now I want to continue and tell you more about a few new payment methods we've added before I go into our small wins. We've added two very exciting payment methods for the European region. One is SEPA bank transfer, which allows you to set up an installment that you expect to be collected by a bank transfer that the customer makes to you. It's enabled in the API, so you can create one-time or recurring bank transfer installments through the API. And we automatically generate a compliant structured payment reference for that through the RF credit reference format, which is the standard of creating the right reference in the SEPA region. Additionally, For Finland specifically, which is part of the SIPA region, we also implemented the Finnish reference, which is slightly different from the out of credit reference, which is also supported for SIPA bank transfer. Now, continuing into the Nordics, we've been on a journey in the Nordics by adding Norway and Sweden over the last few years. And with this release, I'm very excited to, next to VIPs, which we already support, also roll out support for mobile pay one-time and recurring payments, which is supported both in Denmark and Finland, and is directly integrated to our existing VIPs package. So if you are interested, these are launched in GA, so you can get started on them immediately. And they allow you to serve customers in Denmark and Finland even better if you have them over there. Closing off, there's many more things that we did over this release. We've made further accessibility enhancements for pages and pay links, which I want to highlight. There are more on this slide, but feel free to read them afterwards or in our release notes. And specifically, I want to highlight something else that we also did with this release for our Go Cardless package. Go Cardless has a feature which they call Success Plus, which allows Go Cardless to automatically retry certain payments that based on their criteria. And FinDock has now added support for initiating Success Plus transactions using FinDock with Go Cardless. If you prefer Success Plus over retrying it yourself through our payment schedules. All the details about this release and more are in our release notes, which you can find on our documentation website. There's details about Paya, about refunds, but also about our third pilot, which we launched, which is the support for the Salesforce Bulk API v2. And if you want to read them, you can click the link or go to our documentation website directly. That leaves me with thanking you for being with us over the last 2025, wishing you a happy new year on the 2nd of January. We will stick around for questions and hope to see you next time if you have somewhere else to go. Thank you very much.